Hi, welcome to this episode of the Celebrate Brave podcast. I'm Nicole Steinbach, the International Bravery Coach and your host. Today, this episode is building on last week's episode with my extraordinary client, Nisha. Nisha and I talked about some really profound aspects of growth, of investment, of becoming who you want to be. I recommend that you listen to that episode if you haven't heard it yet, but you don't have to enjoy this episode. It's always an offer. We're in a non-hierarchical relationship. So definitely check it out, and you don't have to. So one of the things that we spoke about that I wanted to go a little bit, not just a little bit, I want to go a lot deeper into is the idea of investing in yourself, of asking for help before you ever get into the red zone. And the red zone, if you think about a traffic light, you have a green zone where you're thriving, things are going well, you're sleeping well, you're taking care of your body, you have relationships that matter to you, you have work that you are enjoying that pays well, you have hobbies, etc. The yellow zone, where some of that is true and some of that is not true. And then the red zone, burnout, lack of sleep, poor eating habits, body pain, underpaid, overworked, not enjoying the world. And, one of the things that Nisha shared was how she waited until she was in the red zone. I'm not going to share more about her story than she shared on her podcast episode. Instead, what I'm going to say is a lot of my clients come to me, probably because I'm a trauma-informed person. I am not a trauma-informed or certified coach. I'm a trauma-informed person. Okay, so that's a really important distinction to make, right? But a lot of them come to me in the red zone. Quite a number in the dark red zone, some in the yellow. And I've really only had 2 clients in 3 years that came to me in the green zone. Here is what Nisha and I talked about. We talked about the importance and the possibility to invest in yourself long before you get to the red zone. Long before. Now, what I didn't share on that episode is this is a newer concept to me. This is like a super new concept to me. Part of my success, part of my growth, part of the results I've created for me, for my family, for the world has been in not investing in myself first, but having experiences first. I share a couple of hilarious definitions and descriptions for myself in the podcast episode. But one of the things, for example, I was a consultant before I even knew that there was a role or a job called consultant. And what that meant was I had questions to ask and I knew where to go and I knew who to ask the questions. But everything beyond that, I just went with my strengths. I started doing change management based on a wiki page. Literally, I went to Wikipedia. I was like, actually, what happened is I was looking around, I was doing communications for internal change for a corporate officer. And I knew all of these changes were causing way more suffering than they needed to. I sat at the big tables. I sat at the strategic tables. So I knew that the strategy and the impulse and the intention was positive. But I also knew, because I went into the cafeteria and I ate with people and had coffees and attended the events and whatever else, that people were suffering way more than they needed to. So I went on to Google and I was like, how to change things in a less painful way or something like that. And this Wikipedia page came on about change management. That's how I got introduced to change management, a wiki page. And I tried to bring some of those concepts in. So then later, when I was a consultant and I got sent to, I think it was called Consulting Boot Camp, I already had lived experience and I'm being taught all these structures. And I'm like, a lot of this is not necessary. A lot of this is just noise. The same with change management. By the time I went and got ProSci certified, I had so much lived experience that I knew I don't need all of these templates and all of these concepts. Some of these can be woven together, and some of these are so important that they really need to be a part of any plan. Same with project management, right? Same with parenting. So sometimes not investing and having lived experience first was a big part of my success. But I'll tell you what is also true at the exact same time, because we are brave enough. We trust ourselves enough in this space, the Celebrate Brave space, to have two seemingly contradictory ideas and beliefs and experiences at the same time. So one is not investing in myself created a lot of success, made me a really good consultant, a really impactful change management person, leader, etc. But what is also true is waiting for the red zone cost me a lot, created a lot of failure. We're not scared of failure here, but we don't need to have it, right? A lot of extra failure, a lot of extra drama, a lot of extra suffering for myself and for others that was not necessary. And I'm going to give you a really concrete example. Becoming a manager and leader. Now, when I first stepped into an interim management position, it was because a colleague of mine was very sick and needed to take medical leave. She didn't trust a lot of other people to take over her team and give it back. But she trusted me, and I wanted to try out management. I got no support from my employer. None. I had to go find my own mentor for this. I wasn't allowed to take any of the leadership courses or any of the management courses. I didn't even get access to the systems. It was horrible. And the experience for myself, as well as others, was not great. It took me 3 months to identify I needed a mentor for management, if I remember correctly. It's been a really long time. And then when I started a mentoring relationship, I realized I had done a gajillion and two things wrong. Like not ineffectively, but like just freaking wrong. That was an example of not investing and creating so much extra suffering. Another example, and I feel very brave saying this, is marriage training, marriage counseling, marriage therapy. I did not grow up with good role models for what a healthy marriage looks like. Like, totally not. I didn't grow up with fantastic artificial role models on TV or in movies or anything. And neither did my husband. He comes from a totally different culture than I do, a totally different lived experience than I do. But he didn't have that really either. He had things I didn't have, like, communicative, peaceful, non-abusive. He had financial reservoirs, etc. But on how to have an intimate, long-term relationship, building something together while two people are also individually growing, neither of us had any insight into that. So we bumbled along. Lots of extra suffering. Really not necessary. Imagine if we had the same type of training for marriaging or parenting or friendshipping as we do for an example, driver's license. Imagine, what would that be like? What would we know? What would I know? Well, I started doing marriage therapy and I started doing, asking people who seemed to have relationships that were, even more supportive than my own, even more committed, even more, growth focused, etc. Started reading some books, and there were fundamental basics I didn't have to suffer through. I could have just learned. The same with parenting. The exact same with parenting. It isn't necessary to get to the red zone to invest. In fact, I mentioned that this is a relatively new concept for me. In 2019, I was a part of a women's entrepreneur networking group. I wasn't in it for very long. It wasn't a good fit for me. And this group facilitated learning the lesson, learning the wisdom of investing in the green zone, latest in the yellow zone, but never letting the red zone happen, or as little as possible, because, hey, we all know shit happens. I was in this networking call. It was a one-on-one. A woman had joined the group as well. She had this beautiful background with these sound bowls. And I just loved the 3 sentences she said when she introduced herself. I was trying to meet other entrepreneurs. I set up some time with her and we get on. And in our first conversation, we just had like lovely, who are you? How are you? Why are you? What do you offer into the world? And then at the end, I asked her finally about her sound bowls. Well, we both had to pop because we both had clients. So we set up an additional time. And in that, she was saying, how's the networking group going? She explained to me the bowls. Then she said, how's the networking group going? I was like, it's okay. I don't really think it's a really good fit for me. I'm very, very global. This is very US focused, and I'm missing that aspect to it. She shared her perspective. And then somehow we got on to, investing in who we are. And I made this throwaway comment. I remember this as if it was yesterday. I made this throwaway comment about things are pretty good. So I'm not doing any business coaching right now. Things are good. Things are okay. I'll wait. And something about it. And she said this to me as a female, as a woman, as a leader. She says to me, that's really interesting. What would happen if you invested when things were good? Please listen to me when I say, in that moment, I had this vision I had never had before of a foundation for a building built half into a hill. And that foundation had been fixed, Lord knows how many times, but never built upon. And equally in that instant that I had that vision, I envisioned building upon, protecting that strong foundation. From one moment to the next, I was introduced to a concept and I understood the concept, and my soul spoke before my brain could engage. The next words I said to her were, "How do I pay you?" And she laughed because she has a gorgeous laugh. She's a soprano, was a professional singer for a long time. She laughed and she said, "For what?" And I said, my brain turning on, I said, "I don't know. I actually don't know, but I know that I want to work with you." So her name, I haven't said her name yet. Her name is Christine Laria. And I just called her Laria. I have no idea why I just called her Laria, but I did. She's a spiritual teacher, an intuitive guide, and an energy and sound healer. She has been working in energy medicine and consciousness, music, and spiritual guidance for over 25 years. And as we worked together, I think we ended up working together for 8 months. The foundation was shored up, protected, built upon, engaged in a way I have never experienced before. There was healing, there was conversation about the past, conversation about the future, but the most important lesson that I got from her was invest in the green zone. Invest when things are good. Since I worked on that in 2020 and in 2021 and in 2022, so have my clients. For example, one of my clients had been working to lose weight. She had a health situation and she really believed that losing a bit of weight would make a big difference for her. So she did, and it did. She needed less medicine. And she decided, we were talking about momentum to reach her professional goals. And one aspect of her life that was holding her back from her professional goals was this health issue. And so she decided that while she was at a weight she wanted, taking the level of medicine that she wanted for this issue, she would go get a trainer too. Not when she was injured, not when she gained it back, not when her medicine went up, but now, in the moment when things were good, in the moment things were stable. Since she made that decision, she actually started something called CrossFit, which continues to blow my mind. I love all you CrossFitters. Just don't talk to me about it all the time. And she started running. She invested in a trainer when things were good. And as a result of all of that, she actually left an industry she didn't believe in anymore. It was oil and gas. And she joined a non-governmental and then has been promoted, I think, twice since then. Now, she came to me for career coaching, which became, as it always does, full life coaching. She came to build her brave because she was in the red zone professionally. And we turned that around, as we always do. And she invested in a trainer in the green zone. And having both of those experiences means she now understands, yes, do not shame yourself. Skip the guilt if you can for letting yourself get into the red zone, but don't stay there. Invest. And choosing to invest in the green zone makes a huge difference. Another one of my clients decided to get a house organizer. She's actually doing this right now. It's so fun to talk about right now. I can't wait to see the experience. As she was going through the holidays, Canada has their Thanksgiving celebrations a bit earlier than the United States and a bit later than most of the European countries. So somewhere in the middle there, I think it's in October, she had just deep cleaned and organized as best she could her house because she was going to host everyone. People were flying in from all over the place for their Thanksgiving celebration. And she realized how much freer and more creative she felt. Like how much more she could focus on other goals, how much more, I think she said fun her family was, how much more creative the kids were being. And so she decided when things were good to hire in a home organizer. I think she said it was like $1,200 or something. It was beautiful. This person came, I think they worked together for a month or 6 weeks. Yeah, I think it ended right before Christmas. Organized everything in the house from the garage to the outhouse, the outbuildings. Outhouse, that was funny. Outbuildings. And then every single room, every single closet in their home. I cannot wait to hear her experience. I've seen the pictures and she tells me it feels lighter. She feels more focused. Can't wait to hear how it is in 6 months' time. Because she invested when things were good in a home organizer. A cleaner. I'm investing in an assistant. A coach. One of my clients, I mentioned that 2 clients came to me when they were in the green zone. One of my clients came to me. She had just gotten promoted. She had been working for this promotion for a while. And she was so excited about the level of work she was doing, and she wanted to enjoy it. She was one of those people who had always been in striving, hustling mode. And she wanted to not alone strive and hustle. She also wanted to enjoy this new phase of her career. And she does. And we've been working together for over a year. Now, she's one of my clients. What I offer is 6 months. I always work with people in 6 months because your results matter. We are going to hit your goal. We meet 3 times a month, one-on-one. We go deep. Then you have a week to really integrate all of the skills, all of the new beliefs, the thoughts, the feelings you get to practice. The last thing I want is my clients to be, with me up on some weird ass pedestal, or any of my clients believe I have to stay with Nicole so that I can enjoy my life. I can enjoy my career. I can earn more. No, I don't want that. So it's really important that my clients get the chance to integrate and they get to see, oh, this area is going really well. I have some questions in this other area, and this last area, girl, I need help. Let's focus on this area, right? Whether it's clarity and momentum, accountability, whatever it is, so we can work on that area. That week of integration is so important to getting your results, and not just getting your results while you're working with me, but getting your results long term. Now, she and I have been working together for over a year, and she's one of my clients who has decided, I'm gonna invest in me via Nicole. This is what she offers. I actually don't need all of that. So I think at this point we're meeting once or twice every month. I don't think she's involved in our Slack messages at all. She's never come to a group call. I would be shocked if she had looked in the workbook, but this is what serves her. And she has seen what it means to invest in the green zone. So she's just going to keep investing in the green zone. And right now, that's via me and working with me. But in the future, maybe it's a house manager. Maybe it's a chauffeur for all of the crazy flying that she does. Girl, I love you so much. I know you listen to this. You're like probably person who listens to it first when it comes out. I love you. You do crazy, crazy flying, and I love you. You keep doing you. Other clients have gotten a dog walker. There's so many ways to invest in you in the green zone. And the results from the green zone mean you start it good, and then you exponentially build upon the good. That's what I learned working with Christine Laria, my dear Laria. That's what I learned the most. When things are good, and then I build upon that, it becomes exponentially good. When I invest in the yellow zone, I get to good faster. And then from there, I can build exponentially. And when I invest in the red zone, there's a lot of cleanup. There's a lot of releasing and unlearning. There's a lot of forgiveness. There's a lot of feeling the feelings I avoided that brought me into the red zone. There's a lot of admitting the truths that are hurting me so that I can get to the yellow zone, so that I can get to the green zone. And then in the green zone, I can begin to exponentially create results. If you're listening to this and you're thinking, I'm in the green zone, invest. Invest with a heart and a mind and a spirit open. You have no idea, just like I had no idea when I started working with Laria, what I would create. Because going from good to exponential good, great, fabulous, awesome, blah, 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 blah. You can't imagine what you create. If you're listening to this and you're in the yellow, invest now. Invest now. And if you are listening in the red zone, listen. There's no reason to shame yourself. There's no reason to stay in guilt. There's no reason to believe you have to do it by yourself. Invest. Invest in your health, in your well-being, in your beliefs, in your future, in who you want to be. I've mentioned a lot of ways to invest in this podcast episode and many others. If you want to live a more brave life, you want to stress less, you want to sleep more, you want to rest more, you want to laugh more, work with me. If you want to work less and be more effective, enjoy the experience more, have some freaking hobbies, some time off, travel if that's your jam, work with me. And if you want to earn more, listen, wealth follows health. Work with me. I have spots open for 2023. The first step is always a consultation. We want to make sure I'm the right coach for you and you are the right client for me. Invest. Don't wait for the red zone. And if you're in the red zone, don't stay there. This is a special message building upon the brilliance of my client, Nisha. And until next week, brave it up. Hey, before you go, if you find the brave concepts I share in this podcast useful and you want personal, in-depth support to reach your brave goals, I invite you to apply for my 6-month one-on-one Build Your Brave coaching package. I coach you and I teach you everything you need to know to get clear, get going, and become your brave you. Imagine you and me together for 6 months, building your bravery so that no matter your goal, no matter where you're starting, we celebrate your results. You will stress less, you will work less, and you will earn a lot more. Go to tricksteinbach.com and schedule your consultation. Till next week, brave it up.